the Friday edition. Weekend coming up. No, Thursday. Tomorrow, we're going to be in another city. Man.
Like a Friday. So
No. Wait,
it's kind of like a
I
Friday,
just
but it's
packed
Thursday.
up. I
Yeah.
just packed up.
We're packing up, so we
We
feel
got
like
very little left. If we go off into the sunset, you'll know what. So let's start again. It's Rudy Giuliani with the penultimate edition of big word, right? Of America's Mayor live. And today they got their 12 jurors. Huh. What do you think the odds are that this judge, deep in his heart, really feels all these jurors are going to be, like true blue and completely fair?
that's a good one.
First of all, if this thing turns out to go wrong, he's going to be finished in the Democratic club. Whoa. How's his daughter going to make money?
Yeah.
Now, I am very much of the view, because I never did in politics, ever make fun of anybody's children, or I think it's completely off base. But this is ridiculous to call her a child. She's no more a child than my son Andrew's a child. I mean, my son Andrew ran for office. Of course, if you go after him, you go after him. I mean, I'm not going to like it. Who knows what I'll do to you? But the reality is, he's in politics. He's a commentator on ABC. She's making a fortune beating the crap out of Trump, right? She's making a fortune at Oppo sales. She's she's not even like a high level political operative. She's one of the people that exists at the low level, the Oppo people. We're dealing about the people that hang around the lower denizens. Let's get any crap we can get. It's vaguely truthful, and in the case of Trump, it's totally made up. So they got a jury. It looked for a while this afternoon. They were going the other direction. About noon today, they lost. They were up to like 7, went down to 5. 2 people came in and said, "We just realized we're unfair."
One said they were scared for their life. One of the jurors.
Why were they scared?
I think they were scared because if they made the wrong decision of guilty or not guilty, they were scared for like their safety. That's what they were saying.
Who's Biden going to kill?
I don't know who they were
Trump,
scared of.
Trump's not going to do it. I mean, Trump.
They were probably. I don't know who they were scared of, but that they say they were scared for their life for being on the jury. Yeah.
The deep state. It's the one thing we think they haven't done. Right? I keep raising the issue. Would they? Because that's about the only thing they got left. So they got the jury 12. They got to go what for? They're doing 18, right? They got to do 6 more. Okay, so they got to do 6 more next week, and then they'll get started on the frame up. And you'll see. It'll be very interesting. Oh my God! What did you see him coming out for the Global Fund? He was like going this way, that way, this way, that way, this way. Oh, now we're going to do one of these a little later, but now Jill is trying to show him the way off, and he got lost. This is pure gossip, okay? As long as we're gossip, I have a feeling. Well, you know what I have a feeling about Jill. There's the one that doesn't put out the Christmas stocking for her step granddaughter. Real step. I call her stepmother in chief, right? All you want to do is read what Hunter says on the hard drive about it. Not that I wanted to get you into the gossip of the hard drive. There are too many crimes to go through to pay attention to the gossip in the hard drive. Something like 150. So the case is getting ready to go. It's going to be an interesting case because there is no crime. And you know what we'll find out during the case? We're going to find out what he's charged with. I don't know what he's charged with. Yeah. They didn't tell him in the indictment. They left the major crime open. How you do that, how you get away with that, I do not know. There's something called due process. At the core of due process is to be fairly and precisely notified of the charges against you, such that you can defend yourself. Well, of course, that ended with Trump when the what was the name of the one that thought that rape could be sexual, could be, what was her name? The one that the one that got sexually abused in the middle of the busiest department store in New York by one of the most famous men in New York.
Oh,
And didn't report it for years.
E. Jean Carroll?
Then
Is that her name?
Then had the wrong dress that she hadn't actually had on. And then she can't tell us the day, the date, the year, the time of year. I don't know how you let that go to trial. Think about it. Somebody comes along and says, what's your name out there? Let's say your name is Robert Samuelson. So this lady comes along and says, Robert Samuelson took me into a bathroom we'll make it a different, at Bloomingdale's. And he took my clothes off and sexually assaulted me. And so you say, I didn't, but can I please be notified of the date and the time? I don't remember. Could you give me like within a couple of days? No. Like, how about the month? I don't remember. Okay. Could we try the year? Like, was it 1990? Was it 1997, 1998? No, I'm not going to tell you. And you go to the judge and say, Judge, this is not a fair, this is not a charge. I mean, how can I defend myself? The judge says, we don't give a damn. If you're Trump, you can't defend yourself. What kind of a joke is that? You're going to defend yourself. This is New York. This is New York City. We're a democratic dictatorship. You're lucky you're getting a trial. You want a fair trial? Well, same thing here. He's being tried for an inaccurate record, an inaccurate business record. It's a misdemeanor. Very few people get charged with this. Nobody goes to jail for it. And it's beyond the statute of limitations. You're saying, well, how can he be charged with it? First answer is he's Trump. Second answer is a democratic dictatorship. The third answer is they hooked it into something called like a predicate felony. They said, and the law says, if you do this minor crime, which a misdemeanor is a minor crime, right? If you do this minor crime in pursuance of a felony, now the statute of limitations, I think, is longer, and it's a felony. You can go to jail for whatever the heck, 5 years or whatever it is. Okay, and they say that's what he did. Except in the indictment, nowhere do they tell you what felony it is. They don't even tell you if it's federal or state. They may suggest it's federal. I don't remember. But that's okay. That gets you down about 8,000 or something, Then they came up actually with 4 that it might be. Might be. And 3 of them aren't. 3 of them, I don't think are even crimes. And one of them, actually, the Justice Department has determined isn't a crime. And that's the one that the guy who bullied Bragg into doing it. What was it, Pomerantz? That's the one he says should be. It is. It's making an illegal campaign contribution. So Trump, by having an inaccurate record in his business records, is trying to hide an illegal campaign contribution that the Justice Department has determined, after due consideration, is not a campaign contribution. And the Federal Election Commission has determined basically is not a campaign contribution. And the Justice Department had a chance to try this case and decline prosecution of it because they tried a case like this against John Edwards and lost and got a hung jury on some counts and never went back to trial. And since then, there have been several articles written by scholars and commissioners saying it's not a crime. So then the U.S. attorney looked at this whole thing, exact case, and said, well, it's not a crime. We can't prosecute him. Then his predecessor looked at it and said, it's not a crime. We can't prosecute him. Then he looked at it when he first came and said, this is ridiculous. I'm not prosecuting this. Then Pomerantz left and wrote a book criticizing him, and then he changed his mind. So he's prosecuting him for a case that has been declined 3 times, that I'd say the majority of scholars do not believe is a crime. That's a ridiculous thing anyway. I mean, there'd be any number of reasons why you would do this. In other words, make a deal so that she doesn't go around telling people that you sexually assaulted her, but you don't have to admit that you did it because you didn't. You say, well, why would you pay her if you didn't do it? Because nobody's going to believe you, or at least half the world's not going to believe you. And it's going to be a real problem for you, your family, your children. Everybody's going to believe it, no matter what. I mean, people do that all the time. They settle cases. I can't tell you how many cases I settled for the city. They want to settle because we didn't do it, but I saved a lot of money by settling. Because a crazy jury would give them $50 million for. We had a guy, it was before me, I think it was during Contra Dinkins' time. He got a $78 million verdict because he was running and he tripped in a pothole and became crippled. Well, you'd say, well, that's a lot of money, but still the poor guy got crippled. Yeah, but he had just done a robbery on the subway and he was running away from the cops when he tripped. And he was getting paid all this money. I mean, in those days, they actually would give you sentences for crimes. He was like doing a 15-year sentence. They eventually reduced it to something like $8 million. But even $8 million for getting crippled because you run away from the cops after you rob somebody. He's the richest guy in Sing Sing. This is what juries in New York do. Oh, poor Trump. I mean, man, sit there with those jurors. They all hate you. District of Columbia, even worse though. District of Columbia has tried, in one way or another, 100 of the J6 people have gone to trial, and not a single one has been completely acquitted. You know what the rate there is of getting acquitted? It's something like 40%. Except for if you're J6, like the guy whose case was before the Supreme Court, Fisher. You know how many hours he was in the Capitol in order to get convicted of a crime and go to jail for, they want to put him in for that 20-year thing. He was in there for 3 minutes. He was in there for 3 minutes. He didn't burn anything like the people of Columbia will show you later did. I mean, I don't understand this. These people don't burn anything. They don't break anything. They get killed, although they lied and said that they killed cops, which is just not true. Just a lie, complete lie. No, a propaganda lie. It isn't just like an accidental lie. It's just like accidental, like Russian collusion was accidental. Hillary paid $1.1 million for it. So I don't get, Ted and Mike, I don't understand why they're not going to call Bob Costello as a witness. Since Bob Costello, well, maybe they are, and they're just holding out a little because you got to actually see what Cohen testifies to call Costello as a witness, because he would be like a rebuttal witness, because he's got so many lies that Cohen told. It could be on the stand for weeks. Now, I'm not exaggerating. One of the reasons, I don't think the primary one, I think the primary one was the legal reason. But one of the other reasons I didn't bring this case is because they brought no cases with Cohen. In other words, the U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York, including the Biden U.S. attorney, came to the conclusion that Mr. Cohen is not worthy of belief. In other words, putting him on the witness stand is sort of dishonorable and sort of a mark against your integrity of your office. Stop Bragg, though, right? In other words, Bragg is putting on the stand one of the biggest liars in America, who a very professional prosecutor's office has deemed unworthy of belief. This is beyond explanation. When Cohen gets up to testify, I'll have to spend hours writing out all the lies I can prove he told. The best one, of course, being the one in which he said he never asked for a job in the administration. And of course, he was the first one in the door asking for a job. Not only did he ask for a job, he drove people crazy. Before I realized there was an actual definitive video recording of him saying he asked for a job, I had lined up about 20 people that he had gone to, guys representing Trump then, to ask them to please prevail on Trump to give him a job. A couple told him to go to hell. A couple told him, are you crazy? Other people were a little more diplomatic and said, we don't think it'll work. But there were people who actually said, are you crazy? You want to work for the federal government? Scumbag like you? I mean, a lot of people didn't like him. And it is. I mean, Trump often says to me, how did you ever misjudge that guy, Parnas, who also turns out to be somebody that the federal government might use as a witness because he is a pathological liar. They won't put him on a witness stand. And I said, well, how did you ever pick Michael Cohen? It's the only thing that keeps him quiet. You make mistakes. Let's face it, you make mistakes. I can see in a way why he felt sorry for Michael. I never thought Michael was a crook. I just thought Michael was a kind of a dope.
Big tough guy.
Yeah, he's like the dog that nobody will pay attention to. They pay attention to all the other dogs. They don't pay attention to him, and he keeps coming around looking for attention.
And he wants to always impress his boss.
Yeah, and that's why he would have put this money out on his own to impress. I mean, you'd say, well, nobody else would do that, but he would, because he's dying for. Everybody around Trump hates him and lets him know it. Nobody. I mean, or they think shouldn't be there. I remember when I first got into the campaign, the big objective was to keep him off television because he made such a bad impression. First of all, he had no.
I remember when he first started going. Before, maybe you weren't around yet.
Well, in
early on, yeah, 2015. That's how I knew the guy was. He went to Cooley Law School.
And in 2015, he was on a lot.
Oh, who's this guy?
They didn't have like an organized campaign yet.
Yeah.
So he was a guy that he was this lawyer, and
even you could see kind of then, right? This guy
would go on. He would go on. He would go on. And then you start in 2016, and when a campaign starts, first thing is to keep him the hell off television. He makes a very bad impression. They're going to think we're mafia. And I knew him for a long time, and I was not involved. I was sort of like sort of an in and out advisor at the time. And I remember getting a couple of calls saying, what do you think of Cohen on television? I said, well, gee, he really doesn't make a very good impression. And he's not too smart, And they said, not make a good impression. They're going to think we're with the mafia, right? And he's not with well, I don't know. He used to like to go around claiming he had a connection to the Russian mafia. But not true.
Well, that would impress.
I don't think it's true. I don't know. We got some uncle or brother or something, somebody or other. But in any event, he's one of these guys where if you're at all smart, immediately he's a bull S artist, and he's telling you all these things. Like, I just talked to somebody else like that too. We're not going to mention. I just talked to Putin. Yeah, like hell you talked to Putin. Yeah, right. You talked to the guy who works for 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 the guy who never worked for Putin.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he's making all this stuff up.
You know,
A
guys.
complete liar. And now he's bitter as hell. He's bitter because he didn't get a job. That started it. He got over that though. And then he's bitter because Trump, I remember what he started churning when Trump wouldn't pay his bills any longer. And he got bitter because of that. And has both, I think both his lawyers can give you like a whole litany of lies. Of course, he's so stupid. He waived the attorney-client.
I was going to say, being one of his lawyers, being your friend, longtime friend, Bob Costello.
The other guy in Washington, both of them.
Yeah, and he waived his what was the
waived the attorney?
Why did he do that at the time? What was the reasoning behind it?
Because he's very, very stupid.
That's it. There's no that's it. I always think there's a reason, you know, at least a rationale, but sometimes people act irrationally.
Well, if there is a rationale, it's a stupid one.
Yeah. There must have been some thought. I mean, hey, I'm just gonna waive this, Bob. So you go ahead and whatever you.
It's not just one lawyer. It's like a couple of lawyers who don't even practice with each other. A dope. I mean, his cross-examination is. I mean, I don't know how good a lawyer the president's lawyer is. I don't never seen him operate as a lawyer, but this should be a classic cross-examination. I would think, you know, even Stormy Daniels won't be as good. It's always more difficult to cross-examine a woman, even if she is a woman with a reputation. I'd put it that way.
Wait, why is that?
Because people are more sympathetic with women, and they want men to be more. But despite the fact, I mean, assuming we don't have like woke, crazy wackos on the jury, they're going to expect that you. Let's put it this way: in my day, you had to cross-examine a woman very differently than a man.
But it was tougher.
Yeah.
Yeah, you say it was tougher. Yeah.
Even if she's bad.
Yeah. Even if she's bad. Yeah, because of how it would.
They
elicit sympathy.
They never come on a witness stand.
Yeah.
Looking like they're looking when they're out. You know.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, pornographic pictures or whatever the hell. She did.
Yep.
She's not going to show up. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She's not going to show up made up for. You know, with no clothes on or something like that.
So the judge
is going to show up looking like she's Virgin Mary or something.
So the judge will not.
Which, by the way, smart. All of that is really acceptable. That's what you do in trials. What's unacceptable is this.
I mean, you were on both sides, right? You're a defense attorney.
This horrible judge. This judge is hurting America by the impression that he's given. Whether you like Trump or not, when you look at the things he does, you are obviously convinced he's railroading him, right?
Yeah.
You see, he won't let him go to the Supreme Court. He won't let him go to the son's graduation. He rules against him on everything. He won't even let him know if the people are Republican or Democrats. This is even in the best sense is the political case, right?
Yeah.
This is a political case in the worst sense in that it's a political fix, but it's a political case. Of course, you're entitled to know whether the person's a Republican or a Democrat. You're entitled to probe the fairness of your jurors so you can properly challenge them. Their political party is going to say something. I mean, particularly in this day and age, right? Your political party can say something about your prejudices.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it doesn't get reversed just for that. Well, of course, it's going to go to the appellate division, made up of a whole other group of Democrat boss selected judges. They're appellate judges, so now they wear glasses, but that doesn't make them any more honest or any more non-political. They're still, as Judge McMahon used to say, judges sometimes when they got the robe, still God gave it to them. And they have to be reminded they're only there for one of two reasons. They're either a Republican or a Democrat. And in New York, it's worse than that. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back. And I will still be here in the land of the Democrat dictators.
The new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
You're back.
Taking my veggies. I'm taking my fruits. I'm taking my balance of nature.
That's right. Balanceofnature.com, promo code Rudy.
35%.
Yes. Wow. That's damn. That's.
And
almost,
if you don't need them now, boy, you're something. I'll tell you. Even I mean, I need them.
if you want the
Taking
same
a
energy
little
the
out of
mayor
me.
has, that's 7 days a week.
You're going to be surprised at the thing that really knocked me for a loop and all the things that have gone on. My house being raided, my law office being raided, my profession being taken away. Oh, geez, I don't even know what else. But in any event, all that, I didn't like it, but I didn't get like really, shook up about it. You know what I'm shook up about?
Well,
Bill Maher.
Mm.
I do not understand how a American human being who is otherwise seems to be a sharp guy. I don't agree with him. Well, lately I've agreed with him more, but not even now. I realize he's a real lefty. But to say he actually is okay with killing if it's babies, could it be that he's like biologically ignorant, like the Supreme Court justice that doesn't know what a woman is? Does he realize that there's a point at which that embryo becomes a baby? Like if it's delivered in the 8th month, it's going to live. And or at the 9th month, even the 8th month, there's not much difference between it's in the womb and out of the womb. And also to eliminate it in the womb, you got to do the same thing you have to do out of the womb. You got to crush its skull. I mean, only people I could think that would agree with such a thing would be like Nazis, or particularly the rationale that he gave that the population is too big. I don't know him, and never got to know him. Never was on a show. God, I really would like him to explain it. Can we play that again? Let me just get it ready. Maybe you guys can call.
Respect the absolutist position. I really can. I scold the left on when they say, "Oh, you know what? They just hate women. People who aren't pro-life, pro-choice. They don't hate women. They just made that up. They think it's murder, and it kind of is. I'm just okay with that. I am. I mean, there's 8 billion people in the world. I'm sorry, we won't miss you. That's my position on that. What?
That's quite harsh, Bill.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not
Is
sure
that not your position? If you're
And laugh.
That's Piers Morgan, man.
What?
Yeah, that's him.
I go back and forth with him.
Just wants you on. By the way, I must get a message from Pierce's producer every day.
Did you ever hear when I was on with him when he was in?
He's here till
British?
Friday. He wants you on.
Did you ever hear the interview with him when I was on with him when he was in Britain? When I told everybody,
He did a lot.
I told everybody in Britain that the only reason he's here is because he got fired in the United States.
I think I did.
I've forgotten what.
He wants you on.
After that laughing, he ain't getting me on.
That's right. Stand your ground, Mayor.
I mean, somebody, when that happens, should get up and walk out. I swear to God, I would have gotten up and walked out because I'd be afraid of what I would have done. We're not going to miss you? Well, I mean, and nobody, you see, we can't get more of an explanation because nobody's pressing him on this. I mean, I remember when, I don't even remember what Imus got in trouble for. It was some thing that they regarded as a tasteless.
He said nappy-haired bitches or something like that about the Rutgers girls.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he
Called
said.
them net.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's not nice.
That's what he said about the Rutgers women's basketball team.
Now,
Yeah.
isn't that all? Isn't what we just listened to much worse than that?
Kind of racist. He's still a little bit.
Than that.
No, his little. He
condoned.
Yeah.
But he's not talking about murder. You're talking about, you're making a racist kind of comment, which is terrible, awful. You shouldn't be racist. Here he's talking about killing somebody.
Yeah.
I think they were both very disgusting.
He acknowledges.
I don't think there's any comparison.
He acknowledges that abortion is like murder, and then says he's okay with it. He is saying that
He's okay.
Yeah. It doesn't get much worse than that.
It's on to say there were too many people anyway.
That is
which is what do you call that? Eugenics, right? I mean,
yeah.
That's the stuff. The woman. I mean, the whole abortion thing started with the idea of we got too many people.
I mean,
not too many black people. Actually, it started with we have too many black people. And abortion, in fact, it's worked out exactly the way that witch wanted it to work out. I mean, what was it? A couple of years ago, there were more black abortions than births in New York.
Abortion is still, it impacts the black community more than any. I mean, it's just it's the truth.
Religious person, it has to break your heart. It's got to break your heart that there are more. I don't know if it's still the case, but this was a couple of years ago, and there was this startling statistic that there were more black children aborted than born. Well, that is, I don't know what that is. Maybe that's an indication of why we've become such an amoral country.
So Maher, yes, you were correct. As of 2022, I haven't got 2023 yet. 33% of black women get the most abortions in the United States. As of 2022, I don't know what 2023 is. So yes, you.
Well, this is what Margaret.
You are correct.
So now, if you go back, right, and you look at her, at the basis for her Planned Parenthood thing, it was to reduce the black population, the uneducated black population, which is why they took her statue down. Well, okay.
These are facts that have been cited. I mean, 15 years ago, according to some credible researchers, black women were getting abortions at almost 5 times the rate of white women. And it's true. I mean, I have worked on statewide campaigns for office with numerous black candidates. So these are issues that I've gotten to know.
Got all these white women who are, you want to do anything with abortion. I mean, I don't understand how people do not unanimously support no abortion after 6 months. I don't get that.
A degradation of society.
I mean, I've thought about it a lot, and I've been on different sides of this issue, back and forth, both politically and morally. And, since I started to learn about what really happens biologically, I don't see there's any room for doubt about once it becomes a human being. And once it becomes what we can all agree is a fully formed human being. Yep. For that, I think they should be protected. Before that, I think Maher's right. It is killing. But I can understand why people make an argument that it isn't.
I actually have a crazy stat for you, Maher. The highest abortion rate for white women in the United States is 85% in Maine. And for black women, it's 80% in Mississippi. Very weird stat. Maine, 85% for white women.
What?
Yeah.
Maine,
85%.
No, I think is that saying that of all the abortions, 85% are by white women
in Maine.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, white women probably make a large percentage of the women in Maine, though.
That's pretty interesting.
Why is it higher in Maine than elsewhere?
No, it's just
there's more white. What do you mean? No,
very crazy.
Yeah. Well, you're saying because it's a very white population.
That's
No, it's not.
I mean, the real you almost can't look at it from the point of view of statistics, life and death. I mean, it really is a question of, do you really believe that you have the power over life and death or not?
Yeah.
It's like with this euthanasia thing that's going on in Europe, where the 20 7-year-old woman, because she's depressed, wants them to kill her. And what is it? Norway, Sweden.
I think it was Amsterdam.
Yeah, I think they're going to do it.
Yeah, Netherlands. The Netherlands. I mean, I think it was the Netherlands. Yeah.
Then I think they should execute the person who did it.
Yeah, it just goes to show how
you know why it's called murder. That's why. It's like murder. Thou shalt not kill. Goes back a bit. I know we don't believe in anything Jewish anymore, but now, and speaking about that, Adams tells us, that's Mike's favorite guy. Adams tells us that the subways, it's all a big lie. The subways are really safe. Unfortunately, I don't like when he says it, because every time he says it, somebody gets thrown on the subway. It's like maybe there's somebody there who wants to screw with him, but the minute he says, they're exaggerating the crimes on the subway. Today, a 74-year-old man with a cane was thrown on the subway by an unknown gentleman who ran away calling him names. Oh. So now let's look at what Jewish people have to put up with in what used to be the nicest Jewish city in America. Very proud of it, too. I mean, I think the Jewish tradition in New York is one of the great, Irish, Italian, Jewish. These things are really great about New York. I mean, I remember kidding around with Ehud Olmert when he was the mayor of Jerusalem. I used to tell him, I mean, I'm the mayor of the largest Jewish city in the world. And then he would introduce me that way in Israel, which is why I became so famous in Israel. But so let's
play it.
I think throwing Arafat out might have something to do with it, too. Sure.
Back, man.
So one of the things they were yelling is, Iran, you make us proud. So Iran has eliminated more of its own people than any country but China. So why would those poorly educated, dirty, sloppy creeps yell, Iran, you make us? What are you proud of in Iran? The fact that they kill their own people? The fact that they stone women? The fact that they killed that girl because she had a little piece of hair coming out under her Jeep?
Maybe they're proud of they openly hate Jews.
So even though they slaughter their own people by numbers that per capita probably equal China, they're proud of Iran because Iran, like them, hates Jews. Now, the reality is Iran doesn't hate Jews. The Persians were never particular opponents of the Jews. The Shah, who had his own set of problems, no question, but the Shah had an excellent, he may have even had an alliance with Israel, if I'm not mistaken. Remember, the Iranians are not Arabs. It's a big problem, big issue. It isn't just a Shia-Sunni division. They're Shia. Arabs are Sunni, by and large. That's a big division, no question. We saw that play out in Iraq, right? But I will tell you, and of course, these half-wit morons that went to Ivy League colleges would not know this because they don't teach history anymore there. But the Persian Arab division is greater. It's older. It's more in the history and tradition of the Iranians and let's say the Saudi Arabians, and they never hated Jews. There are a lot of Iranian Jews, a lot. Now they fled because they were protected by the Shah. I mean, a lot of Iranian Jews in the United States, the ones that didn't get killed by the Ayatollah. The Jewish hatred in the Arab Islamic countries comes out of the Quran. Sorry, but it comes out of the teaching of Muhammad. the Muhammad in the second part of his life became very bitter about the Jews because they didn't accept him. And then he started killing them in large numbers and taking over their property. Oh, please don't get all upset because he also killed a lot of Christians. What the hell do you think? I mean, they took you kind of generally know, right, about the Armenian genocide by Turkey, right? That's because the Armenians are Christian and the Turks are Islamic. Or right now, there's Azerbaijan, partial genocide of the Armenians. Azerbaijan, Muslim. Armenia, Christian. How about the Turkish annihilation of various parts of Greece? Muslim, Greek Orthodox, Christian. Africa. Since there are a hell of a lot more Christians than Jews, I mean, Islam has killed many more Christians than Jews. Maybe not per capita, but in numbers, and their hatred of Christianity, particularly the group that make themselves either terrorists or supporters of terrorists, like this. I mean, the desire to kill Jews is exactly the same as the desire to kill Christians, and it comes out of being faithful to the teachings of Muhammad. You know, the guy they revere. Now, until we face that, and until we can talk about that, we're going to have this Islamic terrorism as a bane of our existence. The only way you eliminate a problem like Nazism is you face it, and you stand up to it, and you don't get intimidated by it, and you don't get people that have you say things like, "Oh, the Koran is just like the Bible." Like hell it is. You put your hand on that thing, and half of it, you're swearing to a book that wants to kill you. I don't know. I wouldn't put my hand on a book that wants to kill me. I'm sorry. I didn't write that. Well, you want me to lie about it? Because of Barack Obama? You want me to lie about it? You want me to lie about it because that's what the media does? Lies about it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to lie to you about who wants to kill you. Now, does that mean all Muslims want to kill you? Absolutely not. Does that mean that there are a lot of Muslims that can read Quran and kind of read that out? Mm-hmm. A little harder to read it out, though. If they do the, if they did the Quran in chronological order, I could reorder it for you real quick, and you'd have a really nice book. So if we cut it off at about the time that Muhammad went out into the desert and started raising his army of terrorists, we'd have a pretty decent religion. But the Quran is written or is ordered based on the size of the chapter. So I forget if the longest one is first or the shortest one. But it doesn't matter when it was written. So you could be reading something 30 years later first, and then something 30 years earlier, and then it's like schizophrenic. Well, here you got a guy that tells you that the Jews and the Christians are all, and the Muslims are all descendants of Abraham. We all have essentially the same religion. And then the next chapter you read, you got to exterminate them. Or, yeah, there is one alternative to extermination if they pay tribute. That's when he became sort of a gangster. So you ended up now if you reordered the Quran chronologically, by the time you got to the end of the Quran, you basically have a handbook on terrorism and organized crime, which is go in, kill all the elders in the village, frighten the living daylights out of them, and then take over, because you're going to make them, believe in Allah, not Jesus, not Moses, not the Jewish God. That's what they're driven by. They're not making it up. It's there. So we got to face it. They have to face it. I got to rewrite the damn book, cut it in half, and basically say all that killing stuff is, except for Bill Maher, a thing of the past. Bill Maher obviously doesn't have a problem with murder. I don't think I get it. So you saw the anti-Israeli protesters on the subway, right? We watched those. Yeah. Now, the other day, the president of Colombia, herself an apologist for anti-Semitism, running a university that is overwhelmed with anti-Semitism, couldn't figure out if the chant that the Palestinians should drive all the Israelis into the sea, whether that's acceptable or not. She got a problem with that. I mean, it's a little tough. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't really know. What the hell she's doing running an institution of higher learning or any learning is kind of questionable. But here's the thing. I mean, there are demonstrations going on at Columbia. Look, a hell of a lot worse than January 6th Capitol. I don't remember fire at the Capitol on January 6th. Could we take a look at what's going on at Columbia? I mean, she had to call the police in, and then. All right. Well, what you were watching were a bunch of animals protesting in favor of an inhumane terrorist group that's acknowledged under our law as a terrorist group, under most legal systems. They're protesting in favor of Hamas that wants to kill Americans. I'd probably like to kill a bunch of them too. I don't know. Were there any LGBTQ people in there? Because if they were, I don't know. I'd be careful hanging around with those people too long.
I saw the interviews. ABC did some interviews today with these people on the lawn. They were 100% LGBTQ community members protesting.
Anybody ask them?
You could just tell when they were interviewing.
But does anybody ask them how, as an LGBTQ member, can you support a group of people that if you go there, they'll throw you off?
They're not going to answer that. They say they feel oppression with.
But do they even get asked that question by the crooked press?
No.
By the way, have you seen the Bill Maher thing in any newspaper?
No.
Including does even Newsmax cover it?
No.
Well, I mean, what were they sucking up to Bill Maher? I mean, where's it? Is Fox covering it? Do you know? Ted, is Fox covering it?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. We haven't seen it.
Sorry, I'm doing.
Have you seen it on Newsmax?
No.
Was Bill Maher get like special protection? I mean, that statement. If that statement were made by some conservative, they demand that he be thrown off the air. Now, I don't believe in this throwing people off the air stuff, so I'm not going to do that. But I am pointing out that it's extraordinary that this wouldn't be a major piece of news. I mean, among other things, it shows you how barbaric abortion is, which is another reason they don't do it. I mean, they don't want to really concentrate on what the heck's he talking about with a 7-month abortion. Nor do they want to concentrate on the fact that they are in favor of 7, 8, and 9-month abortions, and they've actually made it illegal in New York and applauded for it when it became legal. I mean, there in many ways, maybe Maher was kidding me. He sounded like a bloodthirsty killer. I don't care. We're not going to miss him. We're not going to miss him.
He says because there are
too many people.
Because there's 8 billion people, but somehow we're conspiracy theorists for talking about how there's this globalist elite who believe in overpopulation, and the answer is murder.
Well, Gates does. I don't know
Those, but you're called, you're quickly dismissed as a conspiracy theorist for saying things like that. Meanwhile, Bill Maher, maybe one of the faces of the Hollywood modern American elite, is openly saying abortion is murder. I'm okay with murder because there's 8 billion people on this earth. You won't be missed. What he is saying, he is saying it out loud. Right.
What about the mother? Maybe the mother might miss them, Bill. Maybe the grandmother.
Or the future family. Who knows what?
The future, it could have been the future president of the United States that you eliminated.
What if someone who does great things,
have you ever
cures cancer?
Have you ever talked to people that were spared from, I've met some people that were going to be aborted, and at the last minute, the parent didn't. And
yeah,
I mean, you just think about that.
It's a tough one, and it says something about our culture, right? It really is.
Well, I have always thought that Roe against Wade was the beginning of our moral downfall. Also because it's an intellectually dishonest decision from a legal point of view. And nowadays, intellectually dishonest decisions are par for the course. But in those days, they were kind of shocking. Now, I mean, they're not even intellectually dishonest. They're politically dishonest. Well, we'll be right back with all this good news. The foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now. Welcome back to America's Mayor Live. Biden has created a situation in Israel that's really intolerable. Today, Tehran warned Israel and the world that the tiniest invasion of its territory by Israel would trigger a massive and harsh response. Well, think about that. Iran can invade Israel, but Israel can't invade the tiniest bit of its territory. What are they setting the rules for the world? Hey, shithead. Did you read this? Did you read this, you miserable, dishonest little creep? They can't, you better not touch the tiniest little bit of our territory because, and Biden, oh, yes, Ayatollah. Yes, Ayatollah. You want another billion? Do you realize we're funding it? Do you realize the Democrat Party has been funding terrorism now since Obama? And you're going to vote for them? You're going to vote for those things you see out there? Jumping around, burning things down? Bunch of liars. So Joe Biden is now, I believe, completely falling apart. I don't think there's anything left. Just yesterday, he said, I made it clear. Oh, no, he doesn't talk like that. Sorry. He hasn't talked like that in 20 years. I made it clear to Israelis, don't move on Haifa. I'd have called, if I were Bibi. Hey, Joe, I agree. We got an agreement, babes. We got an agreement, Jojo. I tell you, I'm not moving on Haifa. I just started taking Rafa apart, however.
Haifa's in Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he knows that, man.
We have that video.
And by the way, it's hard to have made a mistake because he mentioned Rafa in the earlier part of the sentence. But does it matter? Do sentences matter? When you have no brain cells left, the sentences are just a jumble. And when you look at him, can't you see that he is mentally ill? That's what this is. It's a mental illness. And it's a very serious mental illness because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. Yeah. And he has no judgment left. He never had judgment, and he has none left. So, this follows, of course, just a week ago, his thinking he was going over the Francis Scott Key Bridge by train. And then the best one of all, of course, can we listen again before we go through the montage of just what a pervert he is? Can we take a look at the other statement that completely has to, I don't know what it has to do. It's got to convince you that you got to get rid of this guy as fast as possible from the White House. I mean, he should be out on the 25th Amendment.
He became an Army Air Corps before the Air Force came along. He flew those single-engine planes as reconnaissance over war zones. He got shot down in New Guinea, and they never found the body because there were a lot of cannibals for real in that part of New Guinea.
You know that's completely untrue. The plane went down in the ocean. Body was never recovered. Only way cannibals could have gotten if the cannibal was it New Guinea?
New Guinea.
The people in New Guinea are good fishermen. If Trump said that, they would accuse him of being a racist.
Of course.
Or xenophobic. Like when he said that we should call it the China virus.
Yeah, of course.
Or they would just accuse him of being absolutely demented and unfit for office.
Yeah.
That would be the first thing, Mayor.
Yeah, but they would, no, I'm telling you, they wouldn't. They'd accuse him of racism on that one, right?
Yeah, of course.
They'd say he's doing that because the people in New Guinea.
You're brown or black, right?
Yeah.
He's, yeah, absolutely. It'd be
But, in this particular case, if you accused him of being racist, it would not be because of that statement. It'd be because Joe Biden is racist.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably the most clearly racist person right now in American politics. If there are others, they hide it. He's too stupid or infirm to hide it.
Oh, God. Yeah.
In
the 90s, he was a racist.
Like you can't be black if you don't vote for him, or
you ain't black.
Or I'm not going to send my kids to the jungle.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he didn't send his kids to the jungle. He thought they'd be eaten. Where did that come from? I got to have a doctor explain to me what happens. Do the brain cells just like the synapses just go?
Remember this dude?
Unfortunately, we don't have. Can we call Dr. Maria?
Yeah.
I got to ask her what electronically or physiologically or chemically happens. Is it like a little explosion in the brain, or?
Well, try to decipher this one for us.
And by the way, I sit on the stand, and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap. And I tell you what.
Whoa. That would be funny if you haven't looked at the hard drive.
Whoa. No, it's even then it's not funny.
So Mayor, back to that cannibalism thing. I'm actually reading the cannibal.
You're behind where we are.
I know, but
Now we're at insanity.
Right.
Now we're at perversion.
I just want to say that the cannibalism claims
we're getting very close to pedophilia.
That hasn't been true since the 19th century, and I'm pretty sure World War II is after the 19th century.
They haven't been eating people there.
Yeah, since the 19th century. So I don't even know what he's speaking of. But back to the pedophile thing. Yeah, he's a weirdo. Yeah. So fast forwarding. Yeah, that's weird. He's strange. Strange guy. Yeah. He's weird.
If his uncle's plane went into the ocean,
yeah,
why does he think they ate him?
But he's not even in the right time period. This was in the 19th century.
Maybe I'm getting too.
Well, maybe
superior.
Yeah.
I'm chances at how those things happen in your brain, in his demented brain, because one of these days he may push a button and start a war, thinking he's not. But I think they don't listen. I bet they don't listen to him.
Didn't Curtis Sliwa? Didn't he come up with the answer?
Well, he said something a little different, Mike. He said that Rockefeller's son was cannibalized, was killed in the jungles there and cannibalized. And that's why he thinks that Biden has come up with
in New Guinea?
In New Guinea. Look up Rockefeller's son.
It's saying that in New Guinea, they only ate you as a form of punishment, not as a ritual.
Oh.
It's not a ritual.
What about if they're hungry?
No. I just read the whole thing, so I don't know. I don't know where this guy's getting it from.
A couple of
maybe like some
apple hanging around.
Right. Maybe. I don't know.
Some say in 1961, this is Michael C. Rockefeller.
Yeah, I remember that.
But it says speculation.
Speculated that he may have been killed and eaten by the tribes people from the Asmat village of Otsjanet.
No proof.
Yeah, let's see.
Is that in New Guinea?
If that's from New Guinea, come on, it's got it.
Speculation. No proof.
Oh,
New Guinea?
It's New Guinea.
That's where he got it from.
It's in Indonesia.
Yeah, New Guinea's in Indonesia.
Yeah, but all right. Well,
is it?
Yeah.
Speculation.
That's where he got the story.
I don't like this Guinea part.
Yeah, it's very offensive to Italian.
Very offensive.
You guys don't like.
First of all, that was 1961. World War II was in 1942.
Western New Guinea, but that's the point. This is where
anti-Italian.
Yeah,
this is where Joe Biden got the story about his uncle off the speculative story.
Right. Well, that makes him too intelligent.
Of Michael Rockefeller.
He's 16 years too late. Because World War II ended in World War II ended in 1945. He's 16 years too late.
Remember where he stole his life story growing up from that guy.
At one point, he makes a comment when you can't tell if he's talking about alcoholism or drug addiction or insanity or pedophilia. He says it runs in the family.
Right.
Whatever Hunter was doing runs in the family. You know, we have this affliction in this family. I don't know what he was talking about.
Well, we just figured it out. Well, Curtis did. I got to give Curtis a credit.
Yeah.
Well,
he figured that part out.
That story.
Not be correct. That might not be correct. He may.
Come on, New Guinea. The guy Rockefeller died in a plane crash, or they.
Well, maybe the uncle went down somewhere near New Guinea.
He said
they could have fished him out, and they made him. They might have made him. They might have made a mistake and thought he was a fish.
It's the same thing as the Neil Kinnock story. This is like Neil Kinnock all over again. Michael Rockefeller.
But they didn't eat. At least they didn't eat Neil Kinnock.
No. Remember, Joe Biden ripped off somebody else.
So which is all right? Okay.
So
let's have an intelligent discussion, if possible. Which is worse, the thing about his uncle, crazy story about his uncle being eaten, or the fact that he likes little children to play with the hair on his legs? Which is worse?
The kids thing is always worse.
Well, what do you say, Mike? Which is worse?
Talking about kids touching your legs is way worse. That's listen. You want to lie about your uncle being eaten, cool. But if you want kids touching your legs, dude, that's worse.
But then he makes it even scarier and creepier by saying he likes to have them sitting in his lap.
I love when kids sit in my lap.
Yeah.
So shall we play? Now, here's the one that I remember bothering me before I heard all that. When I'd watch him smelling hair.
Oh, yeah, we have
what? And we found out that that's an actual illness.
We have that.
It has a name.
Oh, let me get that for you, Mayor. I got
Smelling
it.
hair.
Yeah, I got
an
it.
actual fetish.
Yeah. It's like,
Which I never knew. I thought I knew all the fetishes.
I'll get that after the video. I'll get that.
What?
Cryptophilia. No, I'm guessing. I just remember.
Bidenphilia.
I'll get that for you after we get that.
Can we keep the sound on?
Yeah, you can.
Look at this. Look at this poor girl. Now she is not happy about this at all. And that's that little senator who kisses his backside.
Chris Coons.
Yeah.
He won't go. He won't let go of her hand.
What's he doing now?
Ted's right, Mayor. Trichophilia.
Trichophilia. Over here and
he's got his hands all over the kid.
Trichophilia is a partialism in which a person sees hair, most commonly head hair, as a particularly erotic and sexually arousing.
Oh God! Yes. Kid. Who's the old man here? Who's the old man that doesn't punch him in the mouth?
Oh, I recognize him. That's a U.S. senator.
Well, he obviously doesn't give a goddamn about his daughter.
To be fair, I don't think he sees.
I wonder where his hand is now.
Oh my God. His hand is right around her waist. His hand is
big. Oh, see.
That is so weird.
You know, this is
oh God. Look at this one. Oh God. Joe, let go of the hair.
This was all available when he ran for president.
Yeah, let go of the hair, Joe. Oh God, his hands are on her the entire time.
But he actually would have preferred if she sat on his lap. Or played with the hair on his legs.
Oh God, pulling her back. Oh no, he won't let her go. She's staying here with me, he said.
Oh
no, he won't let her go.
We can't let him stay in a White House. This
is worse than I remember it.
Daddy, you don't really give a shit about your daughter, do you?
Oh my God, he's still talking to her. Oh God, this is hard to watch. Oh God.
Any of these people
move the hands, Joe. Keep those hands to yourself. Oh my God.
I remember the person. I won't name her unless she'd like to come on and describe it herself. Remember the person who was looking through the video part of the hard drive, who came to me and said, Mr. Mayor, there's something very strange about this. There are a lot more young girls, underage girls, than women of age on Hunter's hard drive.
Oh, God. That's sick.
What a piece of crap. Yeah. Look at the little girl. Look at that little girl knows that there's something weird going on. You can see in her eyes that she does.
Yeah.
Does he ever touch like grown women?
My God.
Or are they unattractive? If they are, it must be tough on Jill. Maybe that's why she's so bitter. Doesn't put out Christmas stockings for her granddaughter.
Right.
Oh, Mayor, I have some more news to piss you off.
Yeah.
If you'd like.
Yeah, might as well.
DHS releases Lake and Riley murder suspect. Due to a shortage of detention space, Homeland Security released in the U.S. the illegal immigrant accused of killing Laken Riley.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
No room for him in
the detention center, so they release a accused murderer.
We didn't impeach that son of a bitch.
Wait, he was released before.
No, they just
like right now.
Right now.
No.
Yeah.
No, he's not released.
No.
He was released back then.
Okay, yeah.
He's
Right now. Yeah, he's sitting
in other words, if we had a Secretary of Homeland Security
never would have happened,
who was competent or a president, like we detained, I helped to build the detention centers.
Right. Yeah.
This guy would have been where he should have been in jail, and Laken Riley be studying to be a nurse right now.
Right.
But her life is eliminated because we elected Joe Biden. No, we didn't really, but
that sort of thing should.
You know how many people you could put on that list? You're dead because we elected Joe Biden.
Will that be enough? That should move people at the polls, right? Like what happened to Laken Riley, that should, in a state like Georgia.
He was paroled into the country illegally.
Yeah.
That's what happened. and then he killed Lincoln Riley.
People should get it.
I think the memory of Lincoln Riley and the Officer Diller both will hang very heavily on him
for the election.
Yeah, because they're dead only because of him. But all the people in Ukraine are dead only because of him.
Every single one of them.
Yeah, I mean, it just wouldn't happen.
Yep.
I feel like Ukraine doesn't hit as hard with voters because
they don't care.
They don't care.
It's not right.
Yeah, they don't care because it's not here. And I'm not saying it's not right, but U.S. citizens.
Yeah, we're separated with the emotions.
Right.
We're almost at the point now where Republicans no longer support the effort. Independents by a small margin don't support it, and it's only Democrats that support it now.
Is that amazing?
Yeah.
Compared to 25 years ago, right? It would have been
it could be like the Vietnam War.
Yeah, with the money we're sending.
No, the Democrats only support it because of Biden and because they don't want to have Trump, and who knows.
You're right. It's all about Trump.
Everything is driven by their insane hatred of Trump, which really is as insane as that man talking about his uncle being eaten by the cannibals. But what he does with the little girls. Now, the reason I was showing that was because yesterday he was doing the same. Yesterday,
hard to watch.
What?
Hard to watch.
Yesterday he was doing the same damn thing. You have the photographs of yesterday. He's holding all their hands.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll find that from yesterday.
I mean, you just look at that. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, where's that video that he just?
Is there anything else wrong with him that we're missing?
Oh, there it is. There it is.
This guy is like.
Why does he do this?
America's Mayor Live has to put on that creepy shit.
Right, yeah. Like that.
Look at this. This is yesterday. Well, first of all, what are they doing? Are they walking him? Like, is it like he's? He looks like. It looks like they. What? No. I mean, that's bizarre for any number of reasons. Someone suggested that those people might have been paid. His kids might have been paid actors,
or the parents were paid. Who knows?
But would you let your kid participate?
No, absolutely not.
Would you let your kid within 10 miles?
What do you let my cat be with him? Let alone my kid. Jesus Christ, man. Are you nuts? That guy's creepy.
Yeah, that's
so. Why don't we at least have the following for the next? How about there's a protective order? He can't be near kids. You think if some judge would issue that?
That would be funny. That would be. You know what? We should try to get one of those. Yeah,
come on.
Joe Biden is not allowed to be within 500 feet of a school
or a kid, right? Yeah, no more campaigning in schools, Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, send Jill, of course, because Jill's scared. When they see Jill, they get scared because it looks like the wicked witch is showing up.
Evil stepmother.
The evil stepmother. She's going to take my Christmas stocking down. No Christmas stocking for Navy. Navy doesn't get a Christmas stocking. So the poor kid, 10 years from now, when she reads about it, can feel rejected. But just remember, you were rejected by a piece of crap, okay? And this whole thing that they wanted to keep I don't see the mother fighting very much now for the Biden name. Originally, she wanted the Biden name, and she kind of gave that up.
Yeah.
Because you know what that name is going to be in history, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be attached to Hunter. It's going to be all the stuff about the children are eventually going to come out.
Yeah.
This makes now we can't say for sure whether the diary. We know it was reported that the diary that they're fighting so hard to keep secret, right, contains a whole recitation of how he used to take a shower with his underage daughter, right?
Right.
So when you watch all that, and actually you people haven't been treated to the pictures on the
no, not no.
When you have seen some of that, which I have. I mean, I can't say it's true, but I also can say you just don't reject it out of hand. You say it's awfully suspicious that somebody would say he was taking baths with his or showers with his underage daughter when he does all that crap, right? I mean, you know anybody that does that?
I do not.
You know, one thing I've never seen, including among the perverts that I've prosecuted, never saw that hair thing before. That one really knocked me for a loop, and I didn't realize it was a recognized fetish of mental illness.
There's something for almost anything, yeah.
So here you go. I love this headline. Look at this.
Another quarter gone away.
No, all this means is another 3-4 million. That's it. The Democrat Party has voted to basically the last 10 months we'll get another 3-4 million illegals who we don't know who they are. Who knows? They may be really comfortable with a pervert like Biden as president because they are. Now, you can't tell me they're not because you don't vet them. You don't vet them. Remember when Trump got into all that trouble because he said he was going to vet people from the terrorist countries, and therefore he was like what was he? So the terrorist countries are mostly Arab, right? Or they're mostly Islamic. So that made him anti-Islamic as opposed to pro-American in trying to keep out. In trying to keep out terrorists. And by the way, profiling is good police work. For example, we start an investigation of a serial killer. First thing we're told is that the serial killer, one thing we know one thing about the serial killer. He's a 6'4" white guy. But according to these people, we can't go looking for a 6'4" white guy. We have to equally go looking for everybody in the population. We have to go looking for women. That's what actually killed me about the stop, question, and frisk thing, where they would say, well, it's obviously unfair because 80% or 75% of the people they search are black, and blacks only make up 20% of the population. But since they make up 80% of the murder suspects who are identified by murder suspects to you by other blacks, tell me how that's racist. So the only reason they become a much larger part of the sample is because not only are they convicted more, which they'll say, well, it's a prejudiced criminal justice system, their own people identify them more. So if you go look at the list of suspects, from the precinct, right?
Yeah.
And you're looking at there's a murder. So it turns out that anywhere between 7 and 8 out of 10 murders are committed by black people. Not just in New York, but that's pretty much a standard number that prevails in Chicago, Philadelphia, somewhere between 6.5 and 8.5. So it stands to reason that 7 or 8 out of every time you get a lead, it's going to be a black person. So who do you go searching for? White people. Okay, I'm sorry, it's not fair. Everybody says the guy who did it is a 5'10" black guy, but we're going to go looking for white guys. You'd never solve any murder, which they don't anymore. A solution rate of the homicide detectives in New York used to be pretty close to about 90-something%. And of course, they never give up. That's why every once in a while, there'll be an increase in my murder rate. Of course, they'll catch somebody who committed a murder in 1997, I'd say. Oh, yeah, it goes into this.
To the.
So now the 1997 goes from whatever number to 1+ number. Okay, that's good. I can live with it.
Yeah. Well, bringing closure to somebody.
Right. We're not going to show the professor from Columbia again because she's too scary. And Rob is not around, so we don't have to worry about an insensitive comment.
Right.
But not that he was so far off. But I want to show you these people I wasn't going to get their pictures out, but I don't know. They're all ugly, so you don't want to look at their pictures. So the president there making a big deal about what she's doing about anti-Semitism. So I have a suggestion for her over the upcoming weekend that she could take care of. First of all, if she wants to show her good faith, she could fire Joseph Mossad. Joseph Mossad is a professor of modern Arab politics and history. And he's been teaching in Ivy League schools for the last 25 years. He's tenured. Back on October 7, he described the terrorist attacks as awesome and a stunning victory of the Palestinian resistance. There have already been several petitions with thousands of signatures calling for his removal. And how about this? This is a quote from the ignorant professor. The sight of the Palestinian resistance fighters storming Israeli checkpoints separating Gaza from Israel was astounding. He penned in an 1,800-word essay published 24 hours after the bloodshed. Perhaps the major achievement of the resistance in the temporary takeover of these settler colonies is the death blow to any confidence that Israeli colonists had in their military and its ability to protect them. Colonists? Well, that shows you he's an ignorant, uneducated individual, since there's nothing colonial about Israel. Israel was given to the Jews, rightly or wrongly. They didn't settle it, nor did the Syrians, by the way, or the Palestinians. But Joseph Mossad is clearly an enormously prejudiced man, an evil man if he supports terrorists like he does, and a terrible professor, which is why you have these stupid students from Columbia with the ridiculous ideas they have, like stop the Israeli occupation of Gaza. Because he doesn't teach them that it stopped like 15 years ago. Then you have Hamad Dabashi. He blamed Israel for every dirty problem in the world. Every dirty, treacherous, and pernicious happening in the world. And it comes back to Israel, he says, and the Jews. This guy is a professor of Iranian studies at Columbia. He's still there. He also described the Zionists as hyenas. He's still there. The good president. What's the name? Munari Bushkiba. What's the name? I don't know what her name is. Give me her name again. Oh, Manoush Shafiq.
Yeah.
Manoush Shafiq has no problem with Joseph Mossad and the guy who calls Zionists hyenas, or the one who's praising the wonderful work of the Palestinians on October 7th when they killed so many children and raped women. Now, this guy, you want to take a look at this guy, Muhammad Abdu? You see Muhammad Abdu? This guy's a teacher at Columbia. I don't know if you can tell anything from his appearance, but this got to be out of a movie. Oh, he, by the way, is an anarchist. He describes himself as an anarchist. What the hell would you have an anarchist as a professor for? An anarchist wants to tear down everything. What's he going to teach people? How to tear down society? He's an anarchist, but here's the one that really gets you, because I don't know if you should go to jail. He's quoted on saying just several days after October 7, yes, I'm with Hamas and Hezbollah and the Islamic Jihad. Is there any terrorist group you're not with? And why don't you get the hell out of Columbia and go join them in the desert and get yourself a camel? Just in case you meet up with him. There he is right there. This guy's with Hamas, but he's teaching at Columbia. under the auspices of Manoush Shafiq, the big liar who said that she's going to clean this up. Well, I got 3 of them for you to fire. Now, I mean, it doesn't take a long time. Gone. A professor announces they're with a officially designated terrorist group and you can't fire them? Fire them and let them sue you. That'd be a great lawsuit. Columbia's got a lot of lawyers.
And money.
Qayyum Ahmed. Qayyum Ahmed was the former director of George Soros's Open Society Foundation. So he's responsible for all the prosecutors who have made American cities into killing fields. So he's responsible, for example, for the prosecutor who set a record for the most homicides in Philadelphia, or the most homicides in Rochester, or the most homicides in St. Louis. That's what the Soros prosecutors accomplished. So this guy is going to teach, I guess, he's going to teach students how to get people killed in American inner cities, because that's what he's good at. So he's been ripped for allegedly indoctrinating his students to hate Israel based on his lectures. In a video from one of his lectures, he labeled Israel again, historically ignorant and a colonial settler state that has oppressed indigenous populations and displaced Palestinians. Wait a second. They're part of the indigenous population of that area. The designation Israeli and Jewish goes way back before Palestinian. Way back. Nobody even knows what the Palestinians are. For example, Arafat was from Egypt. And there were millions in Jordan, and Israel didn't displace him. The king of Jordan did because they killed his grandfather. And there were millions of Palestinians in Egypt, including Arafat, and they got thrown out because they were killing people in Egypt. And did you ever ask yourself, why will they not allow a single Palestinian in Egypt or Jordan? Because they are worried that they are murderers. And it isn't just Hamas. They're all taught from an early age to kill us. So I'm sure there are some exceptions, but I don't want to bet on that. I get a little nervous when everybody's taught to kill me. I sure don't want to let them in my house. Thank you. You have to go a long way to prove to me you weren't affected by that, right? And then we have Catherine Frank. Now, she's been a law professor since 1999. She doesn't think that any of the Jewish or American Jewish kids who served in the Israeli Defense Force should be allowed on the campus or in the law school or in the college. She's obviously a very, very broad-minded person. But she now is very, very upset because the university is under pressure to root out any students or faculty critical of Israel, and it's already caved. I don't see that when these jabooks are around. Joseph Mossad, stunning victory of the Palestinian Hamad Dabashi. It's really a disgrace. It really is. And the only thing good about it is it's ruined any of this sort of elite status of the Ivy League schools, hasn't it? They may actually be inferior educational institutions, because when you become an indoctrination machine, you really don't teach. I mean, what is teaching? Teaching is learning, is getting people to learn how to think, how to critically think and analyze. What they're doing is telling people what to think. It's the actual opposite of education. Want to figure out the validity of that? You can go back to you can go back to Aristotle and Plato about that. These people, in that sense, are dedicated Marxists. Well, there is a good thing. The House condemned the sea chant that, what's her name? I keep getting her name wrong. The one that Manoush Shafiq can't condemn it, but the House of Representatives did by a vote of 377 to 44. Guess who voted against it? You want to guess a few people who voted against it? Yeah, but who? Like who? 44. Only 44 people voted against it. Just pick. All you have to do is pick 2 or 3.
AOC.
Yo, good. Number 1, you'll get some ice cream. You'll get some ice cream.
Rashida Tlaib.
Maher.
Ilhan Omar.
Now,
Cory Bush. Yeah, come on.
The person who'll get the most ice cream, 1 Republican in the House voted not to condemn, kicking all the Jews into the ocean.
So it must have been on ideology. It might have been one of those.
Mitt Romney.
No,
that's right. Congress?
No, House.
Oh, it's House. Oh, House. Oh.
Crenshaw.
No.
It would be somebody who has like an
Crenshaw's not in that House, is he? Oh yeah, he is. Yeah.
But somebody who's
pro-Israel, I think.
Somebody who's got who's in like a Palestinian district or
no, his name is Thomas Massey of Kentucky.
Oh, it's going to be an idea.
I don't even know.
Do you know it?
No, I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
you know the House much better than him.
It's like I said, it's one of those ideological, like what is it? Rand Paul type.
Rand Paul is very much against these people.
Yeah. Oh, of course. No, but I'm saying, sometimes he votes against things on principle. It's not the content.
What's the principle? To kill children?
No, it's got to be some. He's against the procedure.
Maybe.
No, I'm saying he's not against. I'm willing to bet, and I'm not saying I agree with his decision, but his vote has.
Is he a Trumpster?
No.
Good.
He's more of a Ron Paul type, I think.
Ron Paul is
no. Sorry, Ron DeSantis. I think he endorsed Ron DeSantis.
Jeez, will you go after Ron Paul? I used to have a terrible time with his father. I feel very bad because I don't think he likes me because I beat the living. Used to beat the living crap out of us. His father was like a punching bag for me.
The father ran.
He was like a punching bag for me. In fact, at one debate, I was the one who got the question right after he decided that we were responsible for we meaning the United States was responsible for the September 11 attack.
Can't imagine.
And I got a chance to answer it, and McCain and all the rest of them PO'd that I got a chance to do because they wanted to beat the crap out of him.
He was silly. Thomas Massey is kind of a nerd. I would put him in kind of like the more nerdy, conservative, libertarian.
He's against Johnson.
Yeah.
Johnson and the Uniparty are united behind their laundry list of bad ideas. From borrowing $95 billion from China to send it to other countries, to killing a FISA warrant requirement. They're ticking all the boxes to put America last. So he tries to make himself in America. He got a funny looking little smile. I got to tell you that. Looks a little wacky to me.
Well, Mayor, he has a history of anti-Israel things. So Massey joined 8 Democrat representatives in 2021 in voting against $1 billion in funding for Israel's Iron Dome air defense system.
He was against Iron Dome?
Yes. Saying that he opposed all foreign...
Reagan's program?
Yep. No. Saying he opposed all foreign aid out of concern about national debt. In 2019, he was also the only Republican House member to vote against condemning the boycott, the divestment, and sanctions BDS movement.
Yes. BDS wants to ruin Israel.
Right. Yeah, so he's
basically in favor of ending Israel.
Yeah. So he's very anti-Israel. Oh, in October 23, Massey was the only Republican to vote against a House resolution guaranteeing U.S. support for Israeli military actions in Gaza.
He describes himself as a libertarian.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he obviously, it sounds like he's a Jew hater.
Sounds like it.
Libertarian.
Thomas Thomas Massey's Russia ties resurface.
Yeah, I've always
Second Republican backs effort to oust Speaker Johnson.
He's a me guy. He's a narcissist. So on that note, Mayor, we're well into soccer time. We got to pack up. Maybe we will save and surprise.
We will.
We'll surprise people
About where we're going.
Yeah, but I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Right? Or do you want to tell them?
Oh.
Keep it surprised. Tune in tomorrow. It's an honor
We change our mind.
Yeah.
You never know with us, right? We could be somewhere else.
So wow, what a great show. Fast pace.
It was a great show. It is time to pack up. And I'm still completely overwhelmed by both Bill Maher and also Biden and the little girls.
Yeah, that's bizarre. That video is worse.
I mean, of all the things that we get upset with Biden about, I don't know, that could probably be the worst, huh?
Right. Well, by far.
And when you look at him now,
there's a lot of dead people.
How do we keep him? How do the people around him not say we got to get him out of office for the good of the country? Don't they care about the country at all? I mean, like
they're in a position.
Yeah. I guess they do anything for power. Huh?
Wow, they all benefit.
They probably kill for it.
Yes, 100%. 100%. They already do kill for it.
So Mayorkas is really like an evil guy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't do something about, and you know about it, about getting Biden out of office, when you're in the cabinet, when the 25th Amendment gives you the way to do it, then you're not an American anymore.
Yeah, but they know that their power derives from him sitting in that White House, so they're putting themselves and their own interests.
And they're hoping that he wins, which keeps Trump out.
Yeah, and then
he'll die. No way he's making it 4 years. I mean, the guy looks like. I mean, is there anybody out there that would be surprised if he dropped dead? I mean, come on. It's like, I always describe it this way. Sometimes you live in a neighborhood and there's unfortunately like an older person who's getting really infirm. And then they tell you, he died during the night. And you say, oh, gee, we're kind of expecting it.
Yeah.
I'm expecting him not so much to die, but to just go.
Moment.
Yeah, but he's worse than McConnell.
But
McConnell
was frozen up on screen.
Yeah, he froze up.
That's what they're afraid of with Joe. That's their.
I think once Joe freezes up, it's all over.
McConnell had like 5 strokes on screen already.
Yeah, but they're afraid of that. It's one thing for the Senateman.
This guy's had more than 2 or 3 strokes.
But they're worried of it happening when he's on camera. So that's why you see how careful they are about when they put him in public and how they do it. If he's not good to go, they don't risk it. He just doesn't come out. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world.
I'm willing to buy anything about the Democrats. They got a big cheating plan ready. They got who knows what they got ready.
Oh, right now, mail-in voting.
But there's one thing. There's one thing they cannot control.
They're cheating right now,
and that's the course of that disease. They can't control it. There's nothing they can do. I mean, I don't care what conspiracy theory you want to enter into. The disease is a allegedly progressive, really regressive disease. It eventually gets you. And he's at the stage where it can happen anytime without a surprise.
And there's no cure.
And no cure. And then you know who you are. You can't talk at all. Ooh.
They just got to get him through November. After that, they don't care what happens.
But they don't know if it doesn't happen tomorrow. I don't understand how they're not more risk averse than that.
Well, we don't know, right? We don't know his true medical.
Oh, yes, we do.
Well, no. I'm saying they just got to get him through November. If they feel that they have information that tells them he can get to November.
Okay. The condition that he's in, doctors have been wrong.
For sure.
I mean, there are people that just freeze up and that who aren't even that kind of condition. What I'm telling you is this is something I have no control over.
Sure.
They have absolutely no control over. And it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it could happen like that.
If there was somebody else that came along right now that they felt they could step in and do this, he would have been gone by now. They don't have that person. Their thinking is, look, Biden, yes, they cheated, but Biden was able to win in 2020. 2022 midterms were not as bad for Biden as many thought.
Still not my point. He could win. I don't know. I don't think he can, but he could win. This isn't a question whether he can win or not. This is a question of you cannot control the fact that this guy can be around talking in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And if that happens, they're really a finish because then they got to select somebody, but it will really prove what frauds they are because it will show they've been hiding this forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, from the time we go, but that crazy stuff that we saw was going on during the last election 4 years ago. He was talking about his legs and he thought he saw Roosevelt after he was dead. And I mean, his mind has been going for a long time now.
These sick people, though, they see it as a win-win. If he dies, they get to pick their own person. It's not necessary. It doesn't get to be Kamala, even though Kamala is going to claim it's hers. They'll have the ability to put somebody in there, and they can elicit enough. They're hoping enough sympathy.
Then I get sympathy when he dies.
And different.
I'm telling
things.
you, if
Not
he
from
dies,
us, but from
what's
the
going to happen is there's going to be a tremendous amount of anger, even by Democrats, that they've been fooled, that they've been taken. There won't be any sympathy. There'll still be the hatred for Trump and that group, but that'll diminish.
But it gives them the opening. They don't have to go with Kamala. They don't want to go with Kamala Harris right now.
If he dies and they don't go with Kamala, Trump may actually get a majority of the black vote, not just I mean, he's on his way, not to getting a majority, but to getting a historic black vote. If they double cross Kamala, you can kiss the black vote goodbye. Well, okay, interesting speculation because this is a fascinating election. Everything we're talking about, we could wake up tomorrow. It could all happen. Yeah. All right. God bless America. Pray for it, and we'll be on tomorrow night that will be the end of our weekend show.
From a special
is to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply